Mickey, isn't there a danger at some period that earthbound spirits might take possession? Or are we protected against that?
Well, I think you have to remember in the first place that after all said and done, let's face it, you're earthbound spirits. Yes. And you're going to meet in the daily process of life, aren't you? In all walks of life, you're going to meet all sorts of odd bods, good, bad and indifferent. And of course, unfortunately, at times you will meet people in your life who are extremely unpleasant and whom you have to be on your guard against. Well, you do the same thing in a sense when you come in contact with us. I mean, you'll meet good, you'll meet bad and not so bad. In other words, like will attract like, which is another great truth that people forget. If you think on the wrong lines, if your life is on the wrong lines, if you behave very badly, if you do things that you know darn well within yourself you shouldn't be doing, then of course you're going to attract sometimes entities of a like kind, who will, if not make themselves aware, make you aware of their presence, or you may not be conscious of their presence, they can affect you. They can augment your whole being. In other words, if you have got a nasty trait in your character or something very decidedly unpleasant, then sometimes this sort of entity can, to some extent, augment those sensations or feelings. This is where you have to be very careful. I mean, after all said and done, you know as well as I do that if there's been something pretty horrific in the papers, and something dreadful has happened, you often get a spate of these things. In other words, people take on to themselves a great deal of thought forces in your world and sometimes from this. But I do think it's true to say that if one has to generalise, the power of the entities on the lower spheres that can sometimes come into your world are pretty helpless unless you help them to help you, or use you, to put it more exactly. In other words, if you keep a mind that is tranquil, a mind that is good, and that your intentions are decent and so on, then these people have no power over you whatsoever. They cannot reach you. But if you're going to be stupid, and if you're going to enter into this subject, particularly psychism as you call it, and spiritualism as you call it, then if you're going to enter into it as some people do in a stupid manner, and they're not very nice people in the first place anyway, and they're very materialistic in their outlook, then they will attract some of those sort of people, and that's where the danger lies. When you sit, you don't have to sing hymns, and you don't necessarily have to have prayers, but it's what you are inside you that will create the conditions which make it possible for people to come and communicate from the side of life. If you raise your thoughts and your vibrations as high as you can to that which is good, and you come with the intent and the desire and purpose of being good yourselves, that is, uplifting yourselves onto a high level of consciousness so that you can serve and be of real service, then you'll find that there can never be any harm come to you. If you're stupid and weak, if you open up the door and you do this with the intention of getting some material gain or benefit, or because you want to have some very materialistic problem solved, it's true you may get some guidance, you may get certain advice, and invariably it can be very good. But the point is you should approach this in the right spirit and the right way. And if we can advise you in some way about some material problem, and it's in our province to do it, we'll do it. But we can't force these things. It's what you give us to work with that it's only by that that we can work. And it depends on what you give us as to what we can do and what we can achieve. We depend on you, we depend on the power and the love you give, and we depend entirely, and I think this is very true to say, and particularly on what the medium gives out. If he sits in the right spirit with a good intention to be of service and to help others, if he forgets himself in loving service, if it is truly for the good of humanity, then we can do a great deal, and we have in the past done a great deal of good. But you see, you must try to keep the I out of it. It's a funny thing is about human beings, most people, they don't realise it always, but it's I this and I that. But the first thing, if you want to really find the real I, you want to lose the I. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, stop thinking too much about yourselves, and you'll begin to find your real self, the true self, the spiritual self that's lying dormant, latent within you, which has been covered up with materialism during all your lifetime. because you've been overloaded by other people's thoughts, ideas, prejudices, hates, and heaven knows what else. You've taken on so much from other people that you don't really know your real self. If you want to find your real self, lose your present identity, even if it's only temporarily, and gradually the real self will emerge, and you'll be pleasantly surprised what is hidden, the gold that is hidden underneath all the dross.